Good morning. We will call to order the regular board meeting of the Chicago Board of Election Commissioners. My name is Maricel Hernandez. I'm the chair, and with me is Commissioner William Cressy.
Present.
And the next item on the agenda is the consideration of the agenda. Are there any proposed changes? If not, we'll proceed with the approval of the regular board meeting minutes of October 12th. 2021. Is there a motion to approve?
Madam Chair, since I prepared the minutes, I would prefer that you make the motion.
No problem. I'll move to approve the minutes.
And I will second them.
All those in favor? I vote yay.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next is the Executive Director's report. Mr. Holliday?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioner Cressy. On yesterday, we had our budget hearing with the county virtually. All went well. I attended a webinar with the International Association of Government Officials, IGO, on property alert systems and the importance of preservation of documents. We largely spoke about the preservation of the large ledgers, where some of them are just starting to deteriorate. Our office, we have been talking about that as well. And in the future, there are some things that we're looking at to try to help preserve those ledgers that we have at our warehouse as well. Also attended the quarterly meeting of the Multi-State Informational Sharing and Analysis Center and the Election Infrastructure Information Sharing Center. Again, they were just bringing us up to date about malicious domain threats and cybersecurity threats. Just gave us an update on those things. Our redistricting status, just waiting on the congressional and judicial lines. Our staff and districts and boundaries are ready once it is received. And also just attended internal meetings on ballot printing and vote by mail with the staff. That's all I have to report, Madam Chair.
Any questions, Commissioner Cressy?
There we go, got on mute. Yeah, Charles, by the way, I think great job to everyone yesterday in the Cook County budget hearing meeting. And but I'm very concerned, even with the primary, thank goodness it was sent back to June. You know, and maybe General Counsel, any idea when we might know when we'll have all of the new districts, all of the remapping complete? We find ourselves in a box here.
Well, I can say this, Commissioner Cressy, as I stated, the staff is waiting and ready. So hopefully we can get all this by the end of the year so that when January 13th, they're ready to start circulating, that all those things will be in order so that they're circulating in the proper districts. So
the last we've heard from the city council is they're still on track, they think, to approve wards by December. Okay. So we'd have some time to prepare, and Charles is correct, our staff is ready. We'll subject to litigation. Yeah.
What's the date by which we can start circulating petitions?
January 13th.
Okay.
Okay, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And now we'll hear from our Assistant Executive Director, Sandra Aspera.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair. I have a brief report. Community services and early voting staff are preparing for the filming of the online training starting next week. I continue to monitor the various projects at the warehouse, and I'm now working with the Minion and ES&S representatives in preparing the voting equipment for the June 2022 election.
Okay, right, thank you. And now we'll hear from our Public Information Director, Mr. Bever.
Hello, everybody. This is Max Bever with a few quick updates from communications. As the executive director mentioned, we had our budget hearing with Cook County yesterday and prepared all remarks and submitted all necessary materials. Thank you to Charles, thank you to Kim, and everybody else on the team for that. We continue to media monitor all remapping stories and redistricting, as the commissioner mentioned, to share all information with the staff. Our first episode of our new podcast, The City That Votes, was published and is now available wherever you might get your podcasts. So whatever platform that you prefer. And November 1st is Election Hero Day. So I'm looking to highlight an exceptional judge or poll worker for our social media, and we'll work with our Community Services Division to do so for November 1st. That is all from communications.
Great. Thank you.
And may I just interject? I think the podcast thing is a wonderful idea, Max. As you probably know, Chicago is like the #1 city for listening to podcasts in the US. So I think having a podcast in Chicago is especially a good idea. So I think it's because we sit in our cars in traffic so much, but it's you know, I'm looking. In fact, I'm looking forward my interview with you coming up the 1st of November.
Thank you, Commissioner. I look forward to it too. I suppose we'd only be beat by LA, but I suppose that also gave me the confidence for that there could be another podcast in the midst. But I also look forward to interviewing many people that are on this call today in the near future to discuss and communicate the board's activities and what we have to look forward to next year.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. We'll proceed now with old business, infrastructure projects and changes in election administration and voting equipment. Any updates on this?
None at the moment, Madam Chair.
Okay. How about electronic poll books? Anything new on that?
Only what the Assistant Director have spoke of about working with the SNS and Dominion.
Okay. And then the next item is legislation. Mr. Lasker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We've been given a bill number for what is supposed to be the elections bill this veto session with the corrective measures for most of the calendar items that we've identified and passed along to the state. So that's Senate Bill 536, SB 0536. It is still a shell bill as of this morning. It is scheduled for a second reading short debate today. So most recent action was that House Representative Katie Stewart was added as a House sponsor. She's the vice chair of the Ethics and Elections Committee. So it does appear that they're about to drop the language into it, the bill, perhaps even today, but not as of 9:30 this morning. The other report is we've been following Senate Bill 1565. That's the bill that would allow non-citizens to vote in the school board elections starting in 2024. But that bill is not moving anywhere during this veto session, so it apparently will be held off until spring. So that's my legislative report for today.
Okay, thank you.
One question, Adam, any idea, speculations, whatever, as to whether as Senate 536, will that contain some language with regards to, let's call it right sizing precincts?
Yeah, it's my understanding that the bill that's being pushed by the County Clerks Association and AECOI, along with us, of course, is going to be a part of what they're sort of calling the omnibus elections bill. So I'm expecting it to be dropped into the city.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of a purchase agreement with CDW-G and NetWoven for procurement and contract management software. Opal, is this, do you have anything to say on this particular?
I believe Charles wanted to introduce the
Okay,
approval,
Madam
and then I can
Chair,
determine if needed.
So
okay, thank you.
before, Ms. Walls, give you further details, I just want to say, this is something that I have been talking about a couple of months ago on getting a module where we can keep track of our business practices and structuring of our procurement process, as well as the setup of a repository for all active contracts with start and end dates, alerts when contracts are expiring. And I want to thank Joan Agnew, because when this came about, she was there, coaching me or pushing me and giving me advice on how this should be done. And I'm just happy to see that this process is coming to fruition. And so thank you to all that was involved with help getting the stages of this module that has to be prepared for us.
Okay. Ms. Walls, is there anything further you'd like to explain about the actual software and how it will impact what you need?
Yes, I'm sorry to cut you off, but just to echo what Charles has said, right now we have a very manual, paper-driven process when it comes to our procurement system, as well as our contracts, our invoicing, and what have you. So this is the first steps to implement an enterprise resource-wide planning system that will integrate our main business processes. Our sister agencies, the city, park district, CHA, they've been online with these business processes for years. So I'm happy to see, as Charles said, that this is finally coming to fruition. As far as the procurement module, right now, current state, what happens if a department manager wants to order something, they fill out a paper requisition form. It then gets hand delivered to our finance department for approval for funding. It then goes to either Charles or Sandra for approval, and then it comes into procurement. And that's all a paper-driven process. With this system, that is all going to happen online real time. So you'll be able to, with the hierarchy, enter that requisition. It'll go through the proper channels through the system and get approved online. It will have features such as if it needs to stop because of dollar limits, i.e. if it's a biddable item over 10,000, we'll have dollar thresholds where it'll stop and say, we need to go out for an IFB. If it's something over 25,000 and the board needs to approve, it'll have those limits, spend limits in as well. It'll also track our grants. It'll have fields just so the way we did our CARES Act grant, that was a very manual process, CTCL grant as well. We'll be able to have fields populated and be able to let the system know whether that's a grant related purchase. And if so, when it's time to report on those purchases, our finance department can go into the system and actually query with the reporting functionality to see which purchases were actually grant related and which were not. So that will that's an important feature as well. And we'll just have various ad hoc reporting features within the system. So we can run dollar spends. We can see, as Charles said, when a contract, for instance, is coming up due for expiration, he can run a report and say, I want to see all contracts that are coming up expiring in the next 3 to 6 months. That allows for better planning. We can better be prepared with board initiatives and reports that we want to give to the board with upcoming contract expirations. It'll let us know if something is sole source, if there's a, if it's a professional services agreement. It'll have the ability to capture renewals, contract values, what dollars spent, dollars remaining, so that we're not overspending on contracts. Vendor information, subcontractor information. We'll also be able to track minority and women-owned businesses as far as the dollars that we're spending with those companies. So I am extremely excited that we're heading in this direction. We're looking to start the project implementation November 1st. There's a whole timeline that was included in your packet, and we will be wrapping and going live, hopefully wrapping this up by the end of February of next year. There'll be segments where we're testing, user acceptance testing, where we'll make sure that each department is testing their piece of the product to ensure that once we cut over to this process, that everything is working well. So again, just excited to be headed in this direction.
Okay, thank you so much. If there are no further questions, I will make a motion to approve the purchase and professional services agreement with CDW Government LLC for the customization and implementation of NetWoven software management systems under the terms and conditions set forth in the existing contract with the City of Chicago, with an initial term beginning November 1st, 2021, and expiring after October 31st, 2022, with a cost not to exceed $173,209 over the first year of implementation.
Madam Chair, I most enthusiastically so move.
Okay, I will second. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
And Commissioner Hernandez votes aye. Motion passes. Thank you so much. The next item on the agenda is the legal report. Mr. Lasker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Charles, Joan, and Sandra and I have been discussing some of the pending matters, and we're doing an analysis that we're going to circle back with you and Commissioner Cressy tomorrow or the next day. We have some more precise information. So as for now, that's the conclusion of my report.
Okay, if there is no financial report. At this time, is there any public comment?
There have been no requests for public comment.
Okay, thank you, Trish. Is there a need for executive session?
I have received no request for executive session.
Okay, at this point, I will make a motion to adjourn to our next regularly scheduled board meeting. Is there a second?
There is a second.
All those in favor, please state aye. Commissioner Hernandez votes aye.
And Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes and we are adjourned. Everyone have a great day. Okay?
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.